Hello, folks. Welcome back for Combo Week. And we have something spicy here today. So, today we are going to be playing with Sean D's deck list. Not Sean K, who has supported the last 3 days of content, but Sean D. And they have donated for a very spicy Dwarves deck list. Before I get started here, I also want to let you know that this video is also sponsored in part by cardsbyprox.com, and we'll take a look at them after round one. So let's take a look at this deck list. So this deck list is built around Magda Brazen Outlaw, at least in part. And in a couple of different formats, this combo has come up. So whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, you can get a treasure token. And you can sacrifice 5 treasure tokens to search for either an artifact or a dragon card and put it onto the battlefield. And the big thing that enables this is actually not technically a dwarf, but is a dwarf too, Moth Dust Changeling. So you can activate this thing's ability and tap an untapped creature you control to give this thing flying until end of turn. And you can activate this multiple times. So for every dwarf you control, you can activate this ability, meaning that frequently in 2 turns with this card, you can get enough treasures to search out something from your deck. And there's some options here. The primary option that we're going to fetch up with Magda's ability is actually just a Kaldra Compleat. When you have a 5/5 first strikey, tramply, indestructible, hasty creature that also exiles creatures that try to jump in front of the boss, you're probably winning that game. Although, given that our changelings are also technically dragons, I guess we can also search up one of these. I have to double check that ruling, but I think that's correct. So we have another way of cheating Kaldra into play as well, and that's with Stoneforge Mystic. So we have kind of 8 ways to cheat a Kaldra into play, and that's pretty cool. But this isn't really what gets me excited about this deck list, is actually this card, Rayav Master Smith. Whenever a creature you control that's equipped or enchanted attacks, you give that creature double strike. So, if, for example, you were to get a very large piece of equipment into play, you might be able to end an opponent's life in a single turn. And at this point, we're going to take some cues from Modern Hammertime. And we are going to play Sigarda's Aid, which lets us cast this with Flash and equip it for free. Now, also of note here, this is an equipped creature, right? A germ is an equipped creature, right? So we can also give our Kaldra double strike, in addition to the first strike it already has. So many strikes, so much pain. And we also have Armed and Armored, which lets us choose a dwarf we control and attach any number of equipment to it. So we have 8 ways to kind of cheat the equip cost 8 of this Colossus Hammer to bring the pain. And we also have Rancors in this deck list, which is just another way to enable this creature. Now, here is my concern with this deck list. This is a true 5-color deck list, not 100% all my lands are tribal lands, they cast all my cards, but we're a true 5-color deck. This is white, blue, black, red, green, not all of which are creatures. So some of these 5-color lands, like Cavernous Souls and Secluded Courtyard and Unclaimed Territory, are not actually going to cast some of the cards in the deck, like Sigarda's Aid, Armed and Armored, and Rancor. So I'm actually going to opt to play the games in the tournament practice room today rather than a league to give myself the flexibility to adjust the mana of this deck if it seems like it's not working out well. Because there are some cute pieces of tech in this deck that are functioning as respectable 5-color lands, but there are some real downsides here. As far as the sideboard goes here, there's really only one super notable card here, and that's Steely Resolve. As this enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, and creatures of the chosen type have Shroud. So this may backfire in some cases, but generally speaking, we're planning on playing this versus control decks, where we just don't want them removing our dwarves, and we may name dwarf, and almost all of our creatures just kind of are immune to removal spells. And we're playing this in matchups where we expect that resolving one of these just kind of effectively wins the game on the spot. Not literally, but just is a very strong option. All right, folks, I think that's all I have to say. Let's go ahead and jump into the league. If you're enjoying the old content on my channel, please consider throwing me a like before this video gets started. That's the easiest way to support my content for free. And if you want to support me in a financial ways, there's lots of options from YouTube members to supporting me on Patreon or doing a donation deck list directly. All right, let's battle. We have walked into the tournament practice room and immediately run into the spice. We are paired against a Gyruda deck. I believe I keep this hand. I don't really want to get wastelanded, but I probably have a really fast goldfish. Okay. Yes. Slightly scared. What's going on over there? A walking ballista. Oddly good against my hand of double changeling outcast. Uh-huh. So I guess that means I'm just playing a Sigarda's Aid here. And calling it a turn. Oh my god, that was a reflecting pool that I just clicked on. Yep. Okay, in retrospect, that land was a reflecting pool. That should not have been a keep. Just, like, objectively speaking. Okay. A Karn that quickly is, like, very bad for me. That just gets liquid metal coating, and I'm kind of just, like, fucked. Oh, it's getting Lion's Eye Diamond. That's also bad. That just means Gyruda happens next turn. Okay. Not great for me. Yeah, alright. I will pay white for a Sigarda's Aid. And then I think I offer up a Changeling Outcast to the Walking Ballista. Yeah, but I've gotten so punished for not playing City of Brass on turn 1. I just didn't pay attention to that. That's my bad. Although, to be honest, like, my opponent just leading on Walking Ballista just, like, absolutely crippled this hand. So, like, there's that, too. Alright, there's 4. Is my opponent just, gonna lattice me? I just die to lattice instantly. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. Alright, opponent got a turn 3 goldfish. So I have a couple of null rods here. That's probably all that I will board. What am I boarding out? Unsure. I like haven't played real Magic with this yet. Let's assume that's a little slow. Oh, it's not always slow. Let's like maybe trim one Rancor and one of those and call it good. All right. Turn 1, Sigarda's Aid. Turn 2, Outcast Hammer. And I have a null rod. I'll absolutely keep this. I have to play Mana Confluence on 1 for the Sigarda's Aid. I'm potentially just playing, please don't just like play out a Walking Ballista again. It's so annoying for me. All right, Chalice on 1 is not great for me. Yeah, we'll figure something out. All right, so this name's Dwarf. Is this Null Rod or is this Duder? Let's play Duder. I've just got to get a clock in play because I'm afraid of what my opponent can do in the long term. Okay, yeah, your Signet is fine. Okay, your Caracas is fine. I'm happy with you losing a land there. Yeah, that's annoying. But I think I'm coming out on the right side of that. Oh, wow, Stoneforge is really good. I think I will take a turn off to Null Rod, though. And just treat that as a, like, sinkhole type effect. Like, I would hate to play Stone... Oh, God, that was so good. I would hate to play Stoneforge Mystic and then just have my opponent just play a 4-drop that just absolutely cripples me. Alright. That gets Kaldra. Now, I might... How does this read? Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to a target creature you control. Alright, cool. Okay, more mana is good. So, let's activate this. And this will put in the Kaldra this turn. I do not want to do that. I'll just go ahead and bash in for 5 here. Put my opponent to 15. And then next turn I can activate Stoneforge, put in Colossus Hammer, and then get it equipped to Kaldra. Which sounds very fun to me. Thar Commando. Annoying. Ooh, but my opponent used it to nuke the Null Rod. Which is probably important for them, but good for me. Hammer time! Yeah. I will name Dwarf with this again. Alright, activate. Oh, this is actually better than I thought. Alright, activate a Stoneforge Mystic. Put in a Colossus Hammer. Attach it to Germ. No, no, no! No! Okay, something is happening. A Thar Commando with Flash. Don't like it. So that's gonna blow up my hammer. Okay, that blew up the hammer. Then I play this dwarf. Now, I attack with my double striking Kaldra. Yeah, that feels pretty damn good. And if my opponent somehow answers the germ, I can just arm and armored to re-equip my Kaldra somewhere else. Opponent needs to do something pretty broken here. Okay, there's a Karn. Okay. Kaldra has just become an idiot that still gets to attack, though. So we'll see what my opponent has to say about that. Ooh, if opponent had another land, I'm surprised, like, an ensnaring bridge still would have left them dead, oddly. Okay, sure. I have multiple armed and armoreds I can cast if things get weird in combat here. Yeah, these are instants. Yep, okay, there's the concession. Nice. I guess in the face of Chalice, I would like one more of these. I could just, like, board down another Rancor or something. I think that's reasonable. Okay, this is a hand that I am just going to keep on the strength of a turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, and just be perfectly happy with that. Opponent took one mulligan. We'll see where they end up. The saga is perfectly respectable. The Cavern of Souls. I need to play a Mana Confluence or City of Brass this turn. Play out the Sigarda's Aid. But, like, absolutely do not mind a Cavern to help me get 1-drops through Chalice of the Void if necessary. Okay. So they have the ability to activate an Urza Saga. Looks like they're just going for it at sorcery speed. Okay, cool. The Reflecting Pool is now just an awesome land. A 5-color land with no real downsides. So let's Stoneforge or Kaldra. Actually, maybe that was wrong, because opponent potentially... Or no, opponent can't have Pithing Needle, right? Because they can only have even mana values. Yeah, I don't have to worry about Pithing Needle. Okay, yeah, so I was thinking, like, LED was potentially a thing that was going to happen there. What's the follow-up? Thought-Knot's here. Okay, I mean, makes sense in a Gyruda deck. That does mean I'm kind of running on empty, though. I very much needed that. Okay, that's actually not bad. I can make black mana for Changeling Outcast. Go ahead and name Dwarf with this for the future. And this actually only costs 2 mana now, because, like, these Changelings are just everything. So now I do have a 3/3 double striker that can trade with one of these creatures. And I'd like to draw a hammer and just go to town on my opponent. I want to kill the Thought-Knots here in combat, but seems like my opponent probably should not attack with that. We'll see what they've got going on. Karn. That's bad for me. They've got an LED to crack for it, too, if they have something particularly cute that they can do. Might just die to Lattice next turn, though. That's a hammer. This creature double strikes. Hell yeah. So, I guess I attack my opponent with both of my creatures, and if they don't block my Changeling, they're dead. I can do some really cute things in terms of trickery with armed and armored. Yeah. Alright. Put that on Dwarf. These are both Dwarves. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to send both of those at my opponent and see what they do here. Okay, there's a block on that. So for 1 mana, I'm going to play a Colossus Hammer. I will attach that here. All right, let's go to damage. Okay, I'm going to get to draw a card, the Magda. And now I'm sitting here thinking about whether or not I want to move this equipment and put my opponent to 1. I think I do. I'm going to go armed and armored, paying white and 1. Move this here. And I have attached any number of equipment. That hits my opponent down to 3. I think that's probably good enough for a win. Maybe I also should have attacked with the Stoneforge, but a little weird. Okay, that's an ensnaring bridge. That's fine. I expect to beat that card over time. I think it takes me a few turns, but I expect to beat it. I can just play out a handful of 1/1s. Well, I don't know. Maybe I lose this game for not killing the Karn. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have equipped this. Maybe I should have just like taken my 1 point of damage. I don't know. There were a lot of ways to play that. Oh, maybe I just lose to Mycosynth Lattice for not killing Karn. All right, there's another land. Yeah. In my head, I thought I was shutting off that ancient tomb with my attack, which is why I was willing to do it, but I didn't. Miscounted there. Oh, it's a walking ballista. That's pretty good safety. There's a chalice on one. So I can't just like top. Or no, I can still top deck a hammer because Downforge Mystic just allows me to put it in play. Okay, that chalice doesn't actually do a ton as of right now. Okay. That got scary all of a sudden. And I am just drawing land. Alright, looks like I'm chilling. And this Urza Saga lets my opponent probably pull a little further ahead. Like at some point, they like will use this companion, I assume. Okay. What is that targeting? Okay, was that just a nothing? That seemed like a nothing. The ballista for X equals 2. Alright, life's a little scary, yeah. Well, there's a hell of a haymaker. Oh, Null Rod shuts down a lot of what my opponent is doing, and potentially makes it so that some of my stuff might be able to attack in the not too distant future. Yeah, I mean, Karn is still very much a real thing that has an impact on this game, but opponent can't like Karn plus turn my Null Rod into a creature and then kill it with like a walking ballista. I guess they can, yeah, I guess they can Cathar Commando it. Something big is happening here. Auriok Salvagers. Okay, I am going to concede to the combo here. So the way this works is opponent will discard their hands with these LEDs, and every time, yeah, okay, this is return target artifact card from your graveyard to play with mana value 1 or less, I think. So they activate this, and every time they return LED, they net 1 mana. So they can net a whole bunch of mana and then kill me with the onboard walking ballista. Yeah, I don't think I valued their Karn highly enough, and I was trying to go for the unblocked kill, and opponent played around it. I maybe punted that one. This video is sponsored in part by cardsbyprox.com. Cardsbyprox.com offers worry-free playtest versions of some of the most iconic cards in Magic. Protect your investment while playing exclusive full art cards available in standard finish or premium foil, perfect for playtesting and casual play. Cardsbyprox.com offers affordable versions of the reserved list cards that you want. If you want to playtest with cards, but you maybe are tired of sharpieing on the back of Magic the Gathering cards, this site might be for you. All May take an additional 15% off of orders of $30 or more using the code MAY22 at checkout. If this is a sponsor you are interested in seeing more content from in the future, let me know in the comments. Or if you don't want to see more playtest card related content in the future, let me know as well. All right, round 2, I'm going to keep this opening hand. I have to decide whether or not I play Sigarda's Aid or Changeling Outcast on one. I mean, it's so dependent on what my opponent is doing. I don't want to play the Changeling Outcast so that I can start getting treasures with Magda immediately next turn, although I'm not entirely sure whether or not that's correct. Like, I guess I can pivot out, and like if I pivot out, the only thing is that I don't have a Sigarda's Aid in play. Ooh, a Scrubland. Might be playing against some sort of like Dead Guy Ale-esque deck. Oh, nope. Alright, who is his unmasked targeting? It is targeting me. We might be playing against like an Ephemerate deck or a Reanimator deck. Scrubland has me thinking Ephemerate and that there's some blink shenanigans here. Alright, I've lost my Stoneforge Mystic, so like it. Oh, okay. It is indeed a reanimation deck. So I've got an awful lot of nothing going on in some ways. We're gonna absolutely just be racing each other here. I will Rancor up my creature. I think it is worth it. Maybe I don't need to. I don't know. If I got double discarded, I would really want to have this in play. But there's like very much a world where I don't do that. Now, opponent has cast a reanimate already. So like I am very much winning the onboard life total race. Uh this is absolutely pod racing. We'll see who pulls out ahead here. Oh no. I don't know what this does, but it's probably bad for me regardless. Yeah, okay. So I go to 15 here. I will bash my opponent for 3. They go to 9. Okay, so I'm actually doing okay here, right? Because they have 6, 12, 18. They have a 3-turn clock. I also have a 3-turn clock. So we're pretty comparable right now, but if my opponent has more gas left, I am in trouble. Yeah, like even 1 point of damage here, like, very much matters. Not great for me. However, I am a skilled magician. A very skilled magician. Yes, I will use that ability, and I will crash in for 13. Okay, good shit. All right, I am very happy to win game 1 of this matchup because in post-sideboard games, I can really go in on ley lines to muck with what my opponent is doing. What is the weak link here? And do I want Meddling Mage? Meddling Mage is kind of a crapshoot in terms of hitting the correct card. It may just be better to stay on my primary plan. I wonder if I'm supposed to trim these because it's pretty decent for my opponent to, like, grief that and reanimate it. Whereas most of the other things in my deck are pretty medium reanimation targets. I would buy that. And then, like, maybe go down 1 armed and armored or something. Combo weak indeed. I have a ley line. I am accordingly probably going to keep this hand. Any land in about 3 draws will make this hand into something that is very good. But this is an example of a hand where I keep based on the power of a hate card, and then I just, like, don't functionally do something that matters. Like, that's a real concern. This long pause is the pause of someone who just went, oh shit. Yeah. Alright. GG's. Alright, round 3. We are playing against a Yorion deck of some kind. I am probably going to keep this hand. An Artificer Secluded Courtyard for turn 1, probably. Rather than Dwarf. Think so. Artificer, Changeling Outcast, and we'll get a feel for whether or not our opponent is playing Death and Taxes or some blue pile pretty quickly. Evidence is going towards blue pile, but could be wrong. Yep, blue pile. So my next turn probably is just Stoneforge Mystic, although, like, there's a very real thought to just playing Reflecting Pool into Valiant Changeling and just trying to hit my opponent with a 3/3 double striker a handful of times. Like, that's especially true if I just spike a land for next turn and I just literally get a kill with Armed and Armored next turn. I actually think I'm going to go that route. Yeah, I like that. I should technically attack first, but, like, whatever. Opponent is at 18, and I effectively have 7 power in play. Like, that feels pretty good to me. We'll see what my opponent can do. Like, Prismatic Ending doesn't answer my Valiant Changeling here. And Icefang Coatl does not have the necessary stats to. Hell yeah. This can go on Dwarf. Not Swarf. Dwarf. You have to cast this ahead of time. I'll go ahead and send in with combat. My opponent has not blocked. Means it is armed and armored time. I choose a dwarf I control. I equip Colossus Hammer to it. Hell yeah. That is a turn 3 goldfish. Very nice. Alright, we are playing against some sort of Bant-ish Yorion deck. I probably place some number of Steely Resolve here. It can sometimes be a little awkward. Alternatively, I can go the defense grid route. I think the Shroud's just good. Like, this jerk Shroudy seems like a problem. If I'm doing this, maybe let's go down a couple armed and armored. And, like, I'll keep the ability to, like, Sigarda's aid it around, but otherwise call that good. Yeah. Yeah, this is fine. I guess I'll play this hand. It looks okay. Mana is not 100% perfect, but it'll be greatly improved by drawing a real land. All right. So this name's Dwarf for sure, and I'll kind of get this going. So I have that into Rayav, and then things get real good if I draw a land that lets me Steely Resolve or Sigarda's Aid. Okay. That's what we're doing. So we are playing against like a Yorian food chain deck in all likelihood. Alright. That also names Dwarf, so that I can do this guy uncounterably. And I will get in for my 1 point of damage. Yeah, this is like very, very much a quick kill if I draw another relevant mana source. This was kind of my fear in the intro, but like I did keep this hand, so like maybe that's on me. Like maybe this hand was a mulligan because the mana wasn't as good as I thought it was at first glance. Like this was a multiple rainbow land hand, but not one that quite worked out. I'm gonna name Artificer with this one in case I draw a Stoneforge Mystic. And I think I'm battling. Like at the end of the day, I do need to just turn these things sideways. But I'm like very much giving my opponent time to cast removal spells. Like my Steely Resolve window isn't quite right here. Ooh. Okay, so opponent was not willing to take the risk of blocking in combat, it looks like. My situation's bad here. Okay. That's a cantrip. Also a death toucher. I really need to spike a relevant land. I think I have like 2 turns or I'm dead. Like this is 6 this turn, putting me to 12. Or sorry, putting me to 10. Okay. There's more pain. Is this just a Yorian to hand? It might just be a Yorian to hand. Opponent's not fetching for Icefang Coatl. Very notably, yeah, it is. It is just Yorian to hand. Okay. I basically need to have a combo kill next turn, or that's just the end. I guess I just crash in for 1 here. Well, actually, it takes 7. No, I think I take this damage. I'm not chumping. All right, yeah, opponent just eats it. This is just like stand there and punch each other in the face and see who loses the punching in the face contest first. Okay, it looks like the Yorian isn't happening this turn, and I'm just taking 7. I guess I'm thankful for that. But this is my last chance here. That is another mana source that doesn't actually cast my stuff. So I am dead here. Like this can't block, and can't be blocked. All right. When I am on the play, do I want to give up on this whole Steely Resolve thing? Just play more Armed and Armoreds and just like try to get my opponent dead. Like opponent's game plan was just turn card sideways and kill me. They never actually fired off a removal spell. Like they're assuredly in the deck. No, I'm gonna keep some number of the Steely Resolves. I think they're good. Okay, I have real mana this time. I am going to be keeping this hand. My plan is currently, I think, Changeling out, cast into Steely Resolve into multiple cards. I think. Like, there's a world where instead I just lead on Sigarda's Aid this turn to never expose a creature to removal. But I don't know how overboard I need to go when I do just have another creature in hand. Oh, that is not a removal color. That's a hammer. I think I take the turn to set up the protection, though. Actually, hold on. To target creature you control. Actually, that is awkward, isn't it? Yeah, it is awkward. Very well. All right. All right, so there's Sigarda's Aid. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm here to do, right? That is a force of will. And so I'll crash in. Yeah, maybe this whole Steely resolve sideboard plan is like less good than I thought. I should go down one of those for something else. Yeah. Although I don't know, like once my initial all right. Yeah, this is slightly awkward for me. All right. maybe make a small adjustment to the deck list after this game and something other than like Steely Resolve. Like, I don't know. Like, there's hands where it's good and there's situations where it's good. It's just like the situation where I have multiple Rancors and a Hammer in hand is not the situation where Steely Resolve is good. But the situations where I have a 3/3 double striker in play, like those are definitely the situations where Steely Resolve is strong. So like there's that. I don't know if this thing is supposed to attack. Like that's a death toucher if you fetch another basic land that like takes this out of play. I don't know, they could just have another one. Yeah, and I guess the hands where you're just like trying to protect a Stoneforge Mystic are also reasonable in that regard. I think I'm gonna start by attacking with this thing and see what happens. I can't really afford to be very patient with stuff here because I have double City of Brass in play and my opponent has like multiple exalted creatures. I think this is a Stoneforge Mystic situation. Ow. Killed to those. Alright, it has resolved. Kaldra or Hammer? Hammer's better if Stoneforge Mystic gets removed. Kaldra is better if my opponent doesn't have a removal spell. I think I get Hammer and try to kill next turn. It's like this is 13, 15. Like, it is just a lethal amount of damage if my opponent does not have a removal spell in their 2 cards. I think I like that. And it's still just getting in there, absolutely. Alright, I am down to 7. I guess there is a world where I, like... probably can't kill me, actually. Yeah. Okay, there's a mana. Okay, they're going for something. Alright, there is a Bird of Paradise, which is an untapped creature. And then they can put Yorion into their hand. Okay. Oh, there is a Mist Hollow Griffin. Okay. So they can end the turn with Yorion, Mist Hollow Griffin untapped. And then can I kill through that? I put Colossus Hammer and Rancor. That is 10, 13, 14, 15 that I am attacking in for. We'll take 2 damage from... Oh! I wish I had another land here. Okay, so this is just play Hammer, attach it to this creature. Yes, use this ability. Play Rancor, put it here. 15. Yeah, okay. There is the concession, and I win that match. GG's. Alright, round 3 hand has mana and spells, but I don't really do anything. I'm missing a piece of equipment, and I'm missing a Magda. I think I'm just gonna mulligan this and try to find something that looks a little bit better. Ah! Okay, not great. I will mulligan to 4 here. Okay. Wow, this is bad too. Like, this absolutely has problems. On 4, I will keep. You're going back. You're going back. And I can't cast this Changeling Outcast right now. I guess it goes back. Whoa, no way. We're playing against fucking ley lines? Hell yeah. If you have never seen this deck before, you are in for a fucking treat with what is potentially about to happen. Oh yeah, that's the Sarah Sanctum. That's 4 mana. Okay, so we didn't just get the Opalescence on turn 1 to just kill me, but my opponent's plan is to turn all of these, damn it, is to turn all of these into creatures and then kill me in a single swing. I don't really have things for enchantments, right? Like I have plans for artifacts. I guess Meddling Mage for Opalescence is really good. I need a creature like now. Okay, there's a creature. I mean, that is literally what I asked for. All right. So, black for Changeling Outcast, and then green for a Rancor equip. And hopefully I can just get lucky and draw exactly Sigarda's Aid next turn. Or I guess it can be Sigarda's Aid or Armed and Armored. Either one of those works. Okay. There's an Enlightened Tutor. So, I feel like that means I'm dead, folks. What is Starfield of Nyx? At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield. As long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment you control is a creature. Oh, hell yeah. So that is just another copy of Opalescence from a newer set. Yeah, see? So, like, those all just turn into creatures, and I am taking 18 points of damage this turn. I believe, like the gentleman I am, I'm going to show myself the door here. All right, we'll attempt again in post-sideboard games. So, Meddling Mage for Opalescence or Starfield of Nyx is pretty respectable. I feel like I don't need to give my creatures double strike. I feel like them just attacking is probably fine most of the time. I do have to keep in mind that I am now adding human wizards to my mana base, though. Okay, is a Kaldra hand fast enough? This is turn 2 Stoneforge. Turn 3, play Kaldra and Colossus Hammer, attack for 5. Yeah, this is a plenty fast hand, I think. Now, my opponent's best hands can go faster than this. Like, full disclosure, they absolutely can. I have to read this leyline. I don't actually remember what this one does. Or you, or at least one permanent you control, becomes the target of a spell or ability. 2 damage to that player. Sure, that's fine. Actually, I can just play my hammer on turn 1 here safely. That seems okay. Now, my opponent did keep their 5-card hand with only 2 ley lines, so, like, that's a thing I guess I need to think about. It probably means that they have a Serra Sanctum and then, like, a Suppression Field or another enchantment that they can just play on 2 mana. So if my activated ability for Kaldra is going to cost more, I should probably just get another Colossus Hammer here. And just, like, ignore the fact that Kaldra is a thing that exists. All right, let's make it hammer time, shall we, folks? It is absolutely hammer time. And let's see how big opponent can go here. They are not to Opalescence or Starfield, Starfield of Nyx, Starfield, whatever it is this turn. Or I guess they can beat Opalescence now that they've made a land drop. I guess their follow-up question is then, like, how many creatures do they actually attack with if they do have it? Because, like, I am very much potentially bringing the pain. Okay, they are just casting another ley line. 4, 8, 12, 13, 14. I'm not going to kill myself by tapping a City of Brass. Courtyard's fine. Go on Dwarf. All right, let's go white mana or a Sigarda's Aid. I just armed and armored the one that's already in play, or do I play a new one? I guess I just use my mana efficiently this turn and use both mana. Oh, fuck, this equips a dwarf. Okay, Moto. Okay, nope. I guess we're done with this game. We're gonna play another round. All right, we are back for, I guess, round 4, part 2, now that Moto has, been done pooping itself, or whatever on earth just actually happened here. I'll be keeping this hand and pitching 1 Sigarda's Aid. Looks like this is a turn 3 Goldfish. Pitch a Sigarda's Aid. Just uncounterable, uncounterable. Use this with white mana on turn 3. Hammer, kill. But damn it, I wanted more games versus that Opalescence deck. That's a deck that I haven't played against in a very long time. Alright, Dwarf. Changeling Outcast. 2 things I'll say about playing in the tournament practice room today. Number 1, decks have been spicy as hell, and I love it. Number 2, I'm on the fence about Steely Resolve, but my mana is working out okay. I don't know that I fully get to call it good, but my mana is, like, working out fine. Oh, man. We're not great versus Prismatic Ending here. Seems like that's what my opponent has, yeah. So much for this on turn 2. Okay, I mean, that's something else different to do. That's still fine. It's also just uncounterable. Let's make a Magda. I still just have Sigarda's Aid into Colossus Hammer next turn, but opponent has a handful of different ways that they could interact with me. Still think I'm just going for it. Yaw. This gives this flash. So let's go ahead and crash on in. Yield to that. Take my treasure. After no blocks. Attempt to hammer. All right, we are getting a brainstorm in response. a scary spot for my opponent if they don't have a Source of Plowshares. Like, this is a lot of damage. Did you find it? Ooh, seems like no. Eat 12? Yeah, eat 12. Do I play around Terminus? Yes. Like, if my opponent just has another Prismatic Ending or a Teferi or something, I very much want another creature in play. But in the worlds where they just put a Terminus on top of their on top of their deck as a removal spell, like, I very much don't want that. Okay, there is a City of Brass. I have 4 total mana. I think I play this one uncounterably. Double Striker just seems like a pain in the ass here. Or sorry, I can't play all of these in one turn. So I probably play Magda next turn then. Alright, so play this cute little card here, and then make an uncounterable dwarf. Alright, take my damage, and hopefully put opponent in kind of a tough spot. Instant speed Terminus doesn't sound fun to me. I like very much want to play a pre-combat Magda to get 2 treasures. Going a little bit of a weird spot regarding the Teferi loyalty. But that is what it is. It's like it pluses to 2, and then I can't just poke it and kill it with Changeling Outcast, but I don't want to dedicate an entire attack to it. I draw a card with this pre-combat. Think I'm good with that. Other Changeling Outcast. Okay. Let's take a little more damage, play a Magda, and attempt lethal. Okay, we are seeing movement. All right. If Source of Plowshares on this. Okay, kind of. So Prismatic Ending can't actually take out my Changeling, though. Can take out the Magda. Or sorry, rather this Changeling. Yeah, they're gonna take out the Magda, so I don't get the treasures. So I will send both of these at my opponent directly and force the chump block with the Snapcaster Mage. This is just gonna put my opponent to 5. Your double strike doesn't do you a lot of good. When your opponent just chump blocks. Don't get to like hit it out of the way and then go for their face afterwards. Yeah, sure. All right. Yeah, I mean, let's start by going to combat and seeing if I can kill my opponent. So this 100% goes at my opponent's face. This might actually be better off going at Teferi to just keep it so that Teferi can't bounce something if my opponent does a removal spell. But like opponent's at 5, I think I'm just gonna deal. And see what you got to stay alive. Alright, there's a Valk. Gonna be like a Hull Breacher type card. A Shark Typhoon, absolutely. Just doing it for X equals 1 to get their chump block on. That's totally fine. So I'll take 1, go to 3. And I'm fine with them bouncing this. I think I'm just gonna put this into play on Artificer. Yeah. And do another one of these uncounterably. I'm leaning in a little bit more than I would like into like a Supreme Verdict or a Terminus, but I'm trying to make it so that like the Teferi just like bouncing this coupled with one of the removal spell doesn't just like give my opponent too much time to stabilize. I also do have 5 of 8 mana towards just equipping that sucker. Like, that's a thing. Yeah. There's the Teferi bounce on my big Changeling. Attack with a successful attack with both of these puts my opponent to 1. Right, Narset is fine. And that just immediately minuses digging for either Prismatic Ending or Swords to Plowshares. And they did find a Swords to Plowshares. Okay, that's fine. Again, I think I'm just going face with these, trying to finish off the game here. I assume opponent just like has to fire off a Swords to Plowshares. Just feels necessary. And again, kind of ignoring Terminus, I think I just need to attempt to go wide here and finish off my opponent. Because like they have plenty of cards in hand, plus the one from Narset and from their own draw step. So I think I just kind of need to dodge Supreme Verdict or Terminus this turn, and assuming that happens, I think I've got the win. Just really hard for my opponent to fire off 3 removal spells while also doing any amount of filtering to actually get to them. All right, there's a Snapcaster Mage. I can get a Source of Plowshares and take out this Changeling. My opponent will be dead if I draw a creature and they don't have another piece of interaction, though. Like, I can give this flying, make it unblockable. We'll see. They might have more interaction, though. They do. Okay. So, my creature does not get to attack this turn with a Snapcaster in the way. Any creature turns that into a flyer and pokes my opponent to 1. My opponent's fetch lands are also basically off for the rest of this game. I'll hold that for the element of surprise. And unfortunately, I have to call it the turn here. My opponent doesn't have an active Planeswalker, but they're very much favored. Like, now there are cards like Shark Typhoon, Jace, Teferi, Entreat the Angels if they're being real spicy, have real text that they didn't before. Alright, so now they get to fish for a new card. There are worlds where, like, a day's undoing can just happen. Ooh, another Swords of Plowshares. Opponent's figuring out whether or not they want to attack. If they attack, it kind of makes them obligated to Swords to Plowshares this creature, which they are doing. I don't know how safe that is. It really depends on the rest of their hand. But I will just keep throwing uncounterable creatures at them until they perish. This is like the scary situation for Miracles, right? Where they're like almost but not quite stable. My opponent's got more stuff end of turn. Ooh, Timeless Dragon. That is very good here. My opponent just like needs a couple bodies in play that can either pressure my life total fast enough that I can't draw out of this, or that can serve as blockers for a turn where they miss on a removal spell. Ending is a good get for them. Opponent's definitely pulling ahead at this point. Drop to 19 here. And, like, does this come back immediately? Is this where we're at? No, just oops all Narset day. Absolutely. Finding a Ponder. Sure. So that tells me they don't have actual factual counterspell immediately. Wonder if there is a situation where I'm supposed to save up multiple creatures and go for multiple creatures in a turn. But, like, every time I draw something like this, I just want to jam, because, like, the one turn they don't have an answer, they're very likely to just die. Oh, right. I can't actually do that for 2 mana. Alright, let's call it a turn. I would say my opponent's probably, like, 70% to win this game now. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion or anything, but they're definitely favored. Oh gosh, especially with an extra Source of Plowshares. Like, with Source of Plowshares and Timeless Dragon available, that is so good. Well, I can get a very big creature equipped at some point. Potentially gain a whole lot of life with a Source of Plowshares. Shark Typhoon? Shark Typhoon. Opponent is going to be able to turn the corner on this game very quickly. So, like, they have 7 power now. Like, they also have a Timeless Dragon on standby. So I can literally just die next turn, depending on what my opponent opts to do with their mana. Alright, well, you're uncounterable. Press down. So much for my Kaldra. Okay. That's not great for me. If my opponent fires off a Source of Plowshares willy-nilly, I will probably just, like, equip a Colossus Hammer to this thing in response. Yeah, I think I have to take all that. I don't really think I beat this Source of Plowshares that's in my opponent's hand. That's a Teferi. I play this Colossus Hammer now. My opponent just Source of Plowshares, gives me 1 life, and I don't think I have any outs, so I don't think I can play this card right now. I think I just have to let that resolve. And if my opponent Source of Plowshares afterwards, they Source of Plowshares afterwards. Well, I can gain a disgusting amount of life here. Man, the Teferi, though, is, like, very much not good for me. Alright, I guess let's attempt, because I think I'm dead otherwise. Let's attempt a Colossus Hammer. I think my opponent Source of Plowshares in response, and then I die. I could Colossus Hammer in response to my Colossus Hammer here, with, like, without that Teferi in play. I think I stand a reasonable chance at, like, having time to do something. Yeah, alright. I'll concede that game there. Damn it. So close. Alright. The Steely Resolve tech. Is it good? Unsure. Let's try it again. Like, I'm pretty okay with my reasoning of boarding out some number of armed and armored, like I was doing before. Okay, I am mana light here. If I draw a land, I have Idiot into Idiot with Stoneforge backup and a decent aggressive hand. But if I miss on this land, my hand's really bad. Like, if I miss on the land, I am like trying to rank or up a Changeling Outcast and go all the way with that. My land count's not very high, right? Oh no, it's 21. I think I'm just gonna mulligan to a safer hand, or the same hand but worse. On 6 at this point, I guess I will keep. But I don't like my prospects. Let's keep this and throw the Kaldra back into the deck. All right, Changeling Outcast. You're my only hope. Wow, just snap, force. Oh, sorry, that was the noise from City of Brass. I thought my opponent was just forcing a Changeling Outcast blind, and I was just like floored. Okay, I did draw the second land, which is probably pretty good. I think I'm gonna get my double striker into play and just diversify my threats here. Okay, there we go. This is counterable if my opponent has a force. They don't. I'll bash in for 1. God, Rancor represents a lot of damage next turn. Now, I expect they will have access to either Swords to Plowshares or Prismatic Ending here. So I don't necessarily expect everything here to just be totally free and good. All right, nice. That's actually my preference here. Yeah, let's Rancor up this bad boy and just take my large stack of damage. Woo! That's 10, which feels great. And now, Changeling or Sigarda's Aid. I think Changeling to be better against a 3-mana bounce spell, like a Teferi. Because, if my opponent Teferi bounces this, I can just redeploy it and poke the Teferi to death. Okay, yeah, there's a Teferi. Yep, kind of all as expected there. All right, so I do think we kill the Teferi here. I think it is too risky to not do that. Goodbye. Second main phase. Done that a couple of times where it hasn't paid my cost properly the first time. All right. This potentially just goldfishes next turn. So how much removal you got over there, opponent? I mean, there's another land. That's a Sigarda's Aid. I like that. I think I will play that and kind of decide what to do after blocks. Send them. Do I just accept 7 damage if my opponent passes priority here? Yeah, I think I just accept 7 damage if my opponent passes priority back. Okay, yeah. So my opponent will go to 1. I can save this hammer for next turn and then just rank or something here. Or maybe just play another changeling actually. They still just have a creature that I can play if my opponent board wipes. And while it's reasonable for them to play, yeah, that's fine. While it's reasonable for them to play 2 removal spells, I don't think it's reasonable for them to just fire off 3, and fetch lands are off for the rest of the game as of right now as well. Okay, there is the concession. Do have to do that one more time though. I won't be changing my sideboarding technique. Okay, I'm looking at a land light hand here that doesn't actually cast this Moth Dust Changeling. So despite the fact that I have this combo, I think this one just has to go back. Whereas this one is probably really good. A Sigarda's Aid probably just goes back as it's the least castable thing here. There's a little tension in the mana base as far as oh god, another Cavernous Old is really good. So I'll name Dwarf with this one then. You just not immediately telegraph that Stoneforge specifically is coming. And then I'm pretty likely to just jam multiple Stoneforge Mystics together and see where that takes us. Ooh. Actually, that's very good here. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. Just get my 1 damage in, see if opponent wants to fire off a Swords to Plowshares or anything. They don't. Changeling? Changeling while I can? Changeling while I can makes sense. Yeah. Let's name Artificer with this. then have an uncounterable Dwarf Artificer and make my opponent deal with that shit. It's my hope that I force them to use a Source of Plowshares or something on this, and then like pave the way to get a Kaldra into play. Brainstorm's good. I haven't gotten Terminus in this round yet. Like I haven't seen one. It would make sense that my opponent has Terminus or Supreme Verdict or both, but they've gotten a decent portion of the way through their deck without finding one, so like hard to say. Alright, are we gonna see the immediate shuffle? No. They like whatever it is they're working with. At least one of them. The Teferi time. Like, this thing is worse against Teferi than some of my other cards. Oh, I hope I don't get mooned. Yeah, okay. Well, actually, I just play Magda, although Magda's counterable now. Okay. Eh. Magda. Oh god, that's a lot of damage. Yeah. Oh, actually, turn off auto yields. I've got a second portion of my turn now that I have treasures. Alright. So, opponent goes down to 7. I am fine putting a Kaldra into my hand for the cost of one of these. I think that's fine. I am absolutely walking into a Supreme Verdict, but like that requires very specifically a basic hand. Yeah. All right, nice. Good stuff. All right, you all get a rare round 6 now, as we had a very prominent bug in one of our games. Okay, Otawara into Preordain. Seeing Preordain is immediately making me think combo deck. But I don't know what the Otawara specifically indicates. Artificer? Probably Artificer. Yeah. So this is a game where I am just like very likely to just be the beatdown. Um, like in case we are playing against something like a show and tell type deck that is just going to kill me quickly. But like my plan is very much like Valiant Changeling into Valiant Changeling and just like turn cards sideways, get opponent dead. All right. Are we going now? Are we going now? How scared do I have to be? Not that scared. Okay. So this one can name Dwarf then. And I don't have to take damage off a City of Brass. Let the beatdown commence. And whatever opponent does on their turn is what they do on their turn. Okay. Dark Ritual. Are we straight up just playing against a Storm deck that happens to have an Otawara as a reasonable land? Yeah, okay, another Dark Ritual, 5 mana, 7 mana. Alright, are we ad nausing? What are we doing? Grim Tutor, what year is it? Haven't seen one of those in a long time. This is 7. Arrest me and miss. So, are we on Infernal Tutor? Yeah, we are on Infernal Tutor or Tendrils or Lethal. Or if opponent really wants, I guess they can't. Past in Flames. Yeah, opponent just had Exacxes on turn 3. Oh no, sorry. The Past in Flames is 4 from hand. All right, so they Past in Flames and then they do all the usual shit. I guess I'll let them do it, right? Like, we're in the tournament practice room, and this is going to go quickly anyway. Yeah, they can just Infernal Tutor for Tendrils for a slightly higher storm count, but like they already had it. Okay, there it is. I will concede to that. All right. I had a good aggro start. It just wasn't good enough. Null Rod's respectable. Meddling Mage is respectable. Leyline of the Void has text, but I don't think I'm gonna play it. All right, what of my stuff here is just kind of the slowest? Because, like, it very much matters. I guess Armed and Armored is kind of slow. Like, that requires me to have, like, played out a creature, played out a hammer, and get it equipped, and it has to be a dwarf. I think that'll go. Like, and then I am bringing in 5 2-drops, so that just kind of conceptually makes sense. And then maybe junk one of these. This is just absolute race, minimal interaction with each other. And I think opponent's deck is faster on average than my deck is. Okay. This hand has no oomph. I think this one just has to go back. How about this one? Cavern Dwarf, Changeling Outcast, turn 2, Rayav, turn 3, crash in with a double striking Rancored creature. Not crazy. Gets pretty good if I top deck a hammer. This is maybe not my ideal hand, but I think I will keep it regardless. It's a little awkward here that I need to name Dwarf with this so that I can curve out the way that I want to. And then if I top deck a Meddling Mage, I can't actually play it. So, like, that's a thing that exists here. Okay, sure. Discard spell? Yeah. I wonder if I lose the Rancor or this creature. Actually, all three of these are viable takes for different reasons. Because, like, this is the best card in my hand if I top deck a Hammer. Okay, they are going with the thing that gives my creatures double strike, which is totally reasonable. Okay, that is not what I want to be drawing here. I will Rancor up my creature. I'm attacking with a 3-power creature on turn 2, which is like Delver rates of acceptable. But the issue here is that, like, I don't have any sort of disruption alongside this. So it's not like I have a 3/2 flyer with a couple of counter spells back up. I'm kind of naked here. I don't want to draw that. All right. I mean, I'm making an ad nauseum worse pretty quickly, but I very, very much feel behind here. And turn 3 is usually about the turn that I expect Storm to go off kind of unmolested. Oh, okay. We're getting another turn. Hammer! No. Okay. I maybe shouldn't even play that land to, give my opponent doubt that I might actually have something relevant. But, I think opponent's just going for it if they have the possibility to go for it. And then let's drop another air quotes dwarf. Opponent's on a 2-turn clock, but, like, again, I very much don't like my odds here. Okay, I mean, they don't have it yet. Do they have it now? All right, there's a fetch. There's some red men. All right, so I'm very likely dead. Not guaranteed dead yet, but very likely dead. So they're at 11. All right, there's a Past in Flames. Where's the kill? Okay, they are trying to brainstorm and ponder into a kill here. So they did not innately have it. That's why they're not casting all these rituals from the graveyard. Yeah, okay, this is their last chance to look for a kill. Otherwise, they have to pass the turn. They might be able to just kill me next turn anyway. That's no shuffle. That's an LED. Okay, where's the kill? Oh, no, they still have one card in hand. Sure. All right, yeah, like, do your thing. You just discarded your Burning Wish. We are casting Past in Flames a second time to get the red mana to do that. Okay, that's cute. I absolutely respect that. And there is a Tendrils, and I will absolutely concede here. GG's. I don't remember exactly what the record is because we kind of played a weird number of games, but we won some and we lost some. Overall thoughts on the deck list. More reasonable than I thought. The mana base is admittedly a little bit awkward, and I absolutely had to pitch some hands where I had, for example, a Savannah, but a Moth Dust Changeling as my opening creature. So, like, there's definitely room for improvement in the mana base. I don't think you can do something like play a Tri-land where, like, they ETB tapped because, like, you hitting, like, all of your spells on curve absolutely matters. But, like, I understand wanting the Savannahs because they are cards that untapped cast both Rancor and Sigarda's Aid. They're reasonable, and, like, if you keep going down the secluded courtyard, unclaimed territory route, like, you probably don't end up casting the Rancor enough times. Just generic thoughts. There were very few times that I actually pulled this off in the league. I don't know if this is necessary. Like, it is a respectable dwarf card, but, like, when things are going right, do you need this? That's my primary question. The other thing is, not once in the league, I think, did I activate Moth Dust Changeling in order to go and, like, assemble treasure tokens with this in order to, like, work towards getting a Kaldra out of my deck that way. So, like, is this better off being either fully a dwarf deck or fully a Hammertime deck? Or is this strange amalgamation of cards that's here actually reasonable? As far as the sideboard goes, I like a lot of the things that are here. Like, maybe Steely Resolve is not it in this deck. Like, I went back and forth on whether or not I should actually be playing that in the matchups that, like, I kind of conceptually wanted it for. I'm very unsure about that card. But what I will say is this was fucking fun, and I highly recommend trying it out at, like, an FNM level event. Maybe not something with some real stakes, but, like, have fun with your friends while playing this deck. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out and have a great rest of the day. I'll be back again tomorrow for another day of Combo Week. See ya!